how you put the various content or the various subjects differently, okay, to represent a unique discipline, okay, is what we term as the subject-centered curriculum, okay. Now, if you talk about the subject-centered curriculum, we have a scope for it, okay, and as I said, the scope is where you see that various subjects are differently planned. Okay, there are various subjects differently planned with its own unique content, such as geography, mathematics, and then all that. Now, this subject-centered curriculum is also said to be the oldest one in the world. Okay, so it is the oldest type of curriculum that was ever designed to teach people or to lead people to learn. Okay, so all over the world, you see that people study by subject. Oh, what subject are you doing? I'm doing English. I'm doing mathematics. And then that. So that's the oldest form of arrangement of information for people to study or for learners to learn. Okay. Now, we coming from the side of Africa, when we also started educating, or when we also started bringing in the institutions of school, we also adopted what we call the subject-centered curriculum. Okay, so you see that whenever we go to school, we are also learning subject by subject, subject by subject. And this mainly occurs in upper primary session, secondary school sessions, and in some cases, the colleges as well. So if you go to the university or you go to the teacher training college, you see that you are also going to study subject-based curriculum. You are not going to study everything, but you are going to study subject-based curriculum. So if you are going to technical, then maybe you'll be doing something like metal work, and then maybe technical drawing. Okay, they are all subject-based curriculum. So we say that most teachers are also trained and specialized to teach one or two subjects at the secondary school level in many countries. Why? Why? Why is it that most teachers are trained to specialize to teach one or two subjects at the secondary school?
Hello, sir. My hand is up.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for the reason why most teachers are trained to teach on subject basis is for specialization reasons. If that teacher is trained in that field, he becomes so specialized in the field that you can train the learners and they can acquire the knowledge perfectly and very well. Thank you.
Okay, that is excellent. So you have made mention of socialization, but who specialized the teacher? Is it not because he himself, since he began his schooling, he had been doing subject-based curriculum? Okay, so yes, so since the teacher began his schooling, he had been taught mathematics as a subject, English as a subject separately, social studies as a subject, history as a subject. So you can't offer him anymore. He's just going to be trained in subject-based areas or subject-based specializations. Okay, so because of how we are trained, that is why we come out, or when we go to the colleges or the universities, we still offer those kind of things. Okay, so that is the subject base. Okay, so now let's look at the advantages of the subject base. Let's look at the advantages. So what do you think are the advantages of the subject base curriculum?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
My first point, to be it provides deep knowledge of the subjects. So since that teacher is vested in that area, he has enough and a deep and in-depth knowledge on the subjects and then the subject areas to teach. Two, for easy teaching, planning, and assessment. And it also helps in the academic disciplines.
Excellent. That is good. So for convenience sake, it's good. Is that not it? Yes. And then feasibility. If you say everybody should learn everything in this world, it's going to be something else. People are not going to be deep. They are going to be shallow-minded. Okay, so that is the advantage. And that is why the Greeks, you know that when we talk about education and where learning started from, you cannot leave them out. Okay, and they know that if they organize content under subject-based curriculum, it will help. So just as you have said, it makes it easy for assessment. It makes it quite feasible for an in-depth knowledge of the subject matter. Okay, so that is why up till now, if you look at the primary level, the secondary level, and even in our universities, we are still using the subject-centered curriculum. Okay, so that is some of the advantages. Okay, so we can also add that it's like without it, everything won't, everything about content or organization of content seems difficult. Okay, so people have become so familiar and more comfortable with this design that if you organize content in this way, people can easily carry it out, teach it, and others will learn. So that is one. Then, like you rightly said, it is better understood by teachers because they themselves, that is where they have specialized, or that is where they are also coming from. They were taught that way. So if you ask them to go and teach different things, it will not augur well for them. Okay. Then we also say that it is easier to plan such a curriculum and it is easier to design. It is easier to plan it and it is easy to design. So that is why we still go by the subject-based curriculum. Now let's look at some of the criticisms. One, yeah, Philip.
Sir, it limits
Yes.
instructors on only certain fields.
Philip, I can't hear you.
Sir, please, I said it limits instructors or teachers on certain fields. Example, like when you are subject-centered teacher, let's say you specialize in only mathematics, it is very hard for you to follow in maybe geography. That has
Okay.
become a limit for you.
Okay.
Okay, sir. To
Yeah,
add up,
David.
my point is it lacks integration of contents.
Okay. It lacks integration of content.
Yes, sir.
Hey, can you explain?
Yeah, so like subjects or knowledges should be broken down into smaller related informations, but maybe someone who is teaching what subject can I use? Maybe English. And since the person is vested in English, so when it comes to certain things, okay, let me divert to social. So you are teaching social studies, and then calculation of maps and stuffs. and it has to do with mathematics. But you are vested in what? In just what? The social studies, so you don't want to have anything to do with maths. When you get to the calculation of maths, you find it difficult because you did not, that integration is not there for you to be able to freely flow and then do your necessary calculations.
Very, very, very good. And let me direct you to the first point of the criticism. All that you have said is what is there, okay? So if you look at the first point of the criticism, it says that the subject-centered curriculum tends to bring about high degree of fragmentation of knowledge. Okay, so you have added flesh to that point. Yeah, so you see that you are so specialized in your area that if it is that you have to teach something from the other area, you are limited. Meanwhile, you need that kind of knowledge to also help you explain better on the topic that you want to teach or you are teaching. So that is very, very good. Okay, so that is what is captured under the first one. There is high degree of knowledge fragmentation. Okay, so that is it. The second one, any other? I saw a hand up. I saw your hand up.
Yes, yes. I think my hand went down because I think he touched on some of the something I wanted to say. So
Okay.
some of the students, so it might not cater to individual learning styles. Some of the
Okay.
students in the class, everyone has their specific interest. So some tend to benefit from the subject centered and others don't. I think he mentioned.
Okay, that is fine. Thank you for your contribution. Charlotte.
Okay, sir. Please, can I also say it makes maybe the tutors and the learners shallow-minded because they are subjected to learning of one subject. They don't put more effort to learn other subjects, or let me say to seek other knowledge from other subjects.
Okay, so that is right. But when you say shallow-minded, somebody who has studied the subject of social studies deeply, she's not or he is not shallow-minded. Except that you might say he or she is not rather broad-minded. Okay. So
Okay.
that so that is it. When you say shallow, that will be contended. But when you say he's not broad, maybe because of the social studies that he is limited to, he's not studying anything in maybe science, or he's not studying anything in mathematics. So like one of you said, if there is a topic that deals with how to maybe add some income in the home, and it is under social studies, that person will fall short because he would not like to go through the mathematics of addition, subtraction, and the rest.
Okay.
So he's yes.
Yeah, sir, please, just to add up to what you are explaining or what
Yeah.
Charlotte said.
Okay.
In this is in real life or in real terms. A situation happened in my school just this term. Homework was given to basic 6 or primary 6 students in mathematics, and that same work was given to a teacher who teaches English language at the SHS to help the students do the mathematics. And the complaint the teacher lodged was the maths is too difficult for a basic 6 student. But that is exactly what is in the curriculum. So when the parent came with a complaint, and then, well, I'm in the maths department, so quickly they called me to come and then see what is going on. So I went there, and I quickly took the curriculum and said, oh, this is exactly what is in the curriculum. But the child's father was insisting that the teacher is saying that the thing is too high for them. And I was like, oh, what subject do the person teach? They said English. I said, oh, okay. The person is vested in English. So the person won't understand that comparing of numbers using less than, greater than, equal to was something basic that a primary 6 student should know. So with that, the parents just have to calm down and then understand the concept that, oh, okay, it's because the person is just at the English side. That's why the person couldn't get the concept.
Excellent. 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 Very, very, very useful insight. Yeah. So you realize that the subject base is what is accounting for all this. If it had been a different or the broad base, it will be different. That the subject base will not lend itself to broader acquisition of knowledge or broader applications. So that is what is happening. That's a good observation. Let's quickly move to item 4. Oh, can I see somebody on the line? Yes.
Sir,
Jabba?
I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Does the subject base make teachers timid based on their concentration on only one focus subject?
No, Jabba, no. It doesn't make them timid. Rather, they are proud of it. Somebody is proud to be a mathematician. Somebody is proud to be a social scientist or a social studies expert. Somebody is proud to be a general science teacher. So it doesn't make them timid at all. Only that it only exposes them to their limitation. And the limitation is that they are not broad enough. They are not widely read enough. So they cannot incorporate other subject areas in their field. Okay, but you can have one English teacher who can teach mathematics very well.
Sure.
Okay, you can, yes, occasionally you can have teachers like that. The person is teaching mathematics, but he can also handle some of the concepts in English or social studies very, 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 very well.
So my reason why I'm asking this question is some of the masters, let me say, after the first, second term, or the 3 terms in maybe primary 6, because he's limited to the curriculum, from the next term, he will not be studying again or trying to do more research about the curriculum again. That's why I'm saying it makes them timid based on what they've already learned.
Okay. So on that basis, then I think we can let you in on that point. Yes, but generally, it's rather make them. If people are proud with their subject, social studies, maths, people are proud. That's why when you even talk about integration, teachers don't want to teach integration, or they don't want to handle the integrated curriculum because they are so, glued to their subject areas that they don't want any other thing to come and miss it. With that. Okay, so that is it.
So let me chip in again. I don't want to waste your time. Let me chip in again with the second question. Say a primary 4 student who is being asked to learn something about Microsoft Word, which the child doesn't know much about how to control the keyboard and the mouse. So say, is it advisable to follow the curriculum, or the master should just try to maneuver his way to let the child?
Okay. So we are learning what is keyboard, what is down. Okay. Hello. Yeah, Jabba.
Yes. Sir.
Okay. So
Sir, I can hear you.
Yes. Last week I think we made mention of a type of curriculum that we call actual curriculum.
Yes, sir.
So that is where you are now going. So this time the teacher feels that what the former curriculum brought, he needs to add something, or he needs to teach it in a different way before he can convey the content of the official curriculum. So this becomes the actual curriculum of the teacher, with the goal or with the aim that when he has done that, the learner will be able to assimilate the content easily than as it is in the curriculum given to him officially. So that becomes the actual curriculum of the teacher. Okay, and that also lends its way for another research, whether it is also helping the learner or it is not helping the learner. That is another thing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So we move to the 4th one, and the 4th one, I just want to look at the point there that you have this automatic transfer of information already learned is not possible. And that is attributed to criticism of subject-centered, that you cannot automatically transfer any knowledge that you have already learned. It's not possible. Is that true? Hello? Okay. So what we are saying is that the fourth point is just telling us that there's an assumption that anytime you learn the subject matter curriculum, you are able to transfer knowledge easily because you are well versed in the content. You have studied in-depth knowledge. You see, you've gone deep into it. But others are saying that, oh, the fact that you have gone deep into the knowledge or the content doesn't mean that you can easily apply it or transfer it. Is that true? Is that true? Hello? Hello, are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. But if you are deep into something, there is that possibility that when someone asks you about it, you can easily relate. I'm just not getting the point clearly.
Okay, the point is that the fact that I have learned so well in social studies, maybe social studies content, I have learned social studies. The fact that I've learned social studies doesn't mean that when it comes to issues of pollution, I can easily solve it in the community. That is what he's saying. You know, social
when
studies,
it comes to
yes.
When it comes to the point, that area, that one there, I may stand to it because you knowing about the thing, maybe just the theoretical aspect of it, but not the practical aspect of it.
Very good.
So when
very
we pick
good.
it from that angle, it's true. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So that is what I'm trying to say. That the mere fact that you have acquired in-depth knowledge of something doesn't mean you can automatically transfer it or apply it. I hope we are clear. And that is one key criticism of the subject-centered curriculum. That though it is deep, it doesn't mean that if you learn all the things in social studies, all societies, or whatever, you are able to solve societal problems. Somebody is in social studies, deep content. Okay, he has studied the content of social studies very well, but even cannot manage crisis between two students in the school. He can't. Yes.
Please, I'm a bit confused about something. I want to have a clarification. So when it comes to the people at the training colleges that after every year of their courses they've offered, they still go to the basic school and teach all subjects, you know, what happened to them? Because most of them didn't specify in a particular subject, but they are good in a particular subject. When it comes to the training college, after the 3 years, you'll be asked to teach a whole class, which is, let's say, P1. You teach all the subjects, the RME, the integrated science, the social studies, and all. What happened to them? I don't really get that side of the criteria very well. So please, can you explain to me?
Okay, so you know, these days we are all doing specialization. So the specialization is helping to curtail some of these things. So we have, let's say, Bachelor of Basic Education, Bachelor of Primary Education. Then when you come, if you want to teach at the SHS, we have the BA Arts, the BA Science, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are some of the problems that have been well identified, just as you have also stated. It has been identified. And that is why in our quest to solve it, we are now training you or limiting you to the various levels that you'll be handling the learners. So if you do Bachelor of Primary Education, then we know that you are not crossing your carpet to basic. If you do Bachelor of Basic Education, we don't want to see you crossing to SHS. And if you have done BA Art and you have done your English or BA Science, we don't want you to, cross down to JHS, because the way that we share the content in JHS might not be the way that you have learned the content to be shared in SHS. So these are some of the problems that has been early identified, and you are right. But solutions have been done, or solutions have been put in place to ensure that some of these things going forward will not happen. Okay, so if you are specialized in primary education, we know that then you should be able to handle a conglomerate of subject areas. If you are in basic school or JHS, we know that it is mostly subject-based or subject-based curriculum. So we know that maybe 1-2 subjects, you are there. If you go to SHS, the same, then you move on. Okay, but all over the world, you see that the people who actually mold our learners are those that are from the hello. Sorry, the network went off.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are the key people that actually make a good foundation for learning to take place. The early childhood, the primary. As for the JHS, the Bachelor of Education, junior high school, and then the SHS, BAI. As for them, they only come and build. Though. They build on what the foundational level people did. Okay, so these two people that I've earlier mentioned, to me, or to literature, they are the most crucial people when it comes to, the foundation of education or forming learners to be, teachable. Okay, they are the key people, very, very, very key. Because if they destroy or they don't build the foundation, there's no way you can build on it. And sometimes you see most of the problem in senior high schools, the result and the rest, it just tells you something that something didn't actually go down well at these two levels. Okay, if everything goes down well, you see that it will cascade up. Okay, and as they move up, you see that things will be fine. Okay, so that's it. I think we have spent a lot of time on this. I want to move on to the next slide. Okay. Yeah. So we have another type, which we call the learner-centered curriculum. Okay, so from subject-based, we have learner-centered curriculum. So what is this learner-centered? So learner-centered curriculum is also known as the individualized approach. Learner-centered curriculum is also known as the individualized approach. So let's take those. Our assessment, if they are, which of the following is also similar to learner-centered curriculum, then we know that it's individualized approach. Okay. So what is this learner-centered? When we say learner-centered curriculum, what is it? Okay, so when we say learner-centered curriculum, it's just a type of curriculum which has been planned with the interest and need of the learner in mind. Very simple. A learner-centered curriculum is a curriculum which has been planned with the interests and need of the learner in mind. Okay, and the inspiration or the authority came from Hilda Taba. So Hilda Taba in 1962 told the world that children like best those things that are attached to solving actual problems. That's what children like. They like best those things that are attached to solving actual problems. What does it mean? It means that the learner or the child has a need and the learner has an interest. So the child has need and the child has interest. So plan a curriculum which is based on the need and the interest of the learner. So that is the learner-centered curriculum. Are we okay? Are we okay?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Hello.
Hi.
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 Okay.
We
So
can hear
sorry.
you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. Okay. So we are moved from the subject. We are moved from the subject curriculum. Now we are moving to learner-centered curriculum. Okay. So learner-centered, we say that we got the inspiration from one educational researcher by name Hilda Taba in 1962, and she told the whole world that, in fact, if you consider the need and the interest of the learners, then whatever content you plan, the teacher can deliver it and the learner can learn it. Okay, so that brought about a new way of designing the curriculum, and that name was given, or that we got the name learner-centered design or learner-centered curriculum. So this curriculum basically centered on the needs and interests of the students. Okay, so that is it. And it is a curriculum that is very relevant to the student world, but may not be relevant to the society. Okay, the learner-centered curriculum may be a curriculum which is relevant to the learner, but it may not be relevant to the society. That is how it is. Okay, but one of the positives is that it makes the learner also active. Right now that, yeah, Jaba, yes.
I want to ask a question about the
Okay,
learner-centered.
okay.
So is it advisable to always write the topic or the substrand or the strand on the board for the kids and the students to share their ideas before the master you bring yours out, or the master has to bring his out before the children or the students bring theirs out?
Okay, thank you, Jaba. The strand and the substrand, they are for you. They are for documentary purposes.
Okay.
So the learner actually doesn't, the learner is not interested. You have actually organized your content and you are calling it a strand. Remember, if I should put 2 or 3 of you together and ask you to rename the strand, you give me another name.
Yes.
That tells you that your focus might be different from the focus of the people who also designed that thing. Okay. So the learner actually is unconcerned or indifferent about the statement of the strand or the sub-strand, and then that. So don't worry yourself writing them. It can be in your notebook or your lesson planner or your learning plan, but don't worry yourself inscribing it on the board. Okay. Rather, you can focus on what we call how do we call it? If you want, it is not icebreaker. It's not icebreaker. Okay, it's not an icebreaker. You want to introduce a topic. Okay, you can bring an introduction of the topic in such a way that it relates to the interests and the need of the learner and capture him along, and then you dissipate the content. Okay.
So what about discovery? What about discovery learning?
Yeah, discovery learning is also an approach. It's an approach of learning. It's also the same as exploratory learning. Okay. But this one, what we say is that, Jabba was asking that, is it possible that you write the strand, the sub-strand, and I'm saying that, oh, no. That one, it doesn't meet the need and interest of the learner. Maybe even the way you have even couched or the strand have been couched, there's no way the learner even understands it. Okay. But if you are able to introduce something, maybe after the icebreaker, you are able to introduce something so interesting, which captures the content of what you are coming to teach. Okay, that one, you see that the interest of the learner is captured, and so you can transfer whatever information that you have to the learner. All right, so that is what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm also saying that the learner-centered curriculum might be relevant to the learner, but it might not be relevant to the society. Because what the child wants might not be what the society wants. So that is it. Even though it makes the learner very active, because it is his interest that you are playing, or you are using, or you are playing on his or her interest. So the learner will automatically be active. But it doesn't mean that it is relevant to the needs of the society. That is the point I want to stress. Okay. So we move on to criticism of the learner approach, the learner-centered approach. So what are some of the criticisms of the learner-centered approach? One, we say that the needs and interests of the student may not be valid. It may not be valid. Look at a child who doesn't want to learn anything in mathematics and always come to say that we should be running circles, because circles is also a topic. So we should be running circles. Then when they run the circles, then they fall down, then they will be laughing. I mean, what is the relevance of such? Yeah, David.
Oh no, I just want to bring up one of the critics. That the design is expensive with regards to all the resources and then all those materials that are needed for the learner to be able to come up with the learning experience. It's expensive.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. So you see that the interest of the learner may not be valid. Okay. And secondly, it might be very, very expensive. Because if the learner wants you to buy toy cars, Maybe you are learning something in science about motors, and he's only interested in setting the toy cars to be, moving straight on the bench, and then it will end. Then you go and reverse it. At the end of the day, what have you actually achieved in the science content? In case maybe you are teaching something like electronics, and this child only wants cars, electronic products like cars. And here are you are teaching very hard content of maybe transistors, diodes, and the rest. And this person is only interested in the movement of a toy car. What is he going to do to your content? Okay, so it makes it very, very, very expensive, and it makes it not actually valid when it comes to applying it to the needs of the society. Whereas I want you to know what is transistor and define it or explain it. You are also interested in the fact that transistor has been used in the toy car and it is moving the toy car. Okay, what learning have you acquired? You observe that the needs and interests of students are not those that are important to society in general. Okay, so though people will say, oh, learner-centered, 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 it's good. It's good. But ask yourself, is everything that interests the learner, which can be apportioned as a content? No. So no matter what we do as teachers, sometimes you realize that the topics that we teach actually do not appeal to the interest of the learner, no matter the effort that we put in. Okay, that shouldn't make us too worried, because now we know that some of these things are real. Okay, it shouldn't make us too worried, but let's continue to employ other ways that will appeal to their interests based on the same topic or the content. That is what professionals do. It might not be interesting to them, but let's continue to look for other ways that will make them interested so that they can learn the content that is brought for us to teach them. Okay.
Sir,
Hello.
please, I want to ask more of a question. It's like a
Okay.
question, but really a question. So, sir, what happened to a learner that has interest in the practical aspect of what you are teaching than the theory aspect? Because most of the times when it comes to classrooms, some of the learners, they don't like it when they are learning or a teacher is talking too much at the theory aspect. But when you bring practical things, they are so interested in the way that they want to use practical for the rest of the rest of the period without going through the theory aspect. What happened to such people? What should we do as teachers or maybe a tutor? What should we do to people like that?
Interesting question. So what I'll say is that, Paul, I'll be with you soon. Let me answer Sika, then you come on board. Yeah. So what is going to happen is that you have to.
Please, the first 90. Please, the background is noisy, please.
Osman, your background is noisy. Please mute yourself.
I don't think it's Osman. It's Afisita or yeah.
Someone should meet it.
I think the person is doing it deliberately, because I muted and then the person is just opening the distance.
I also did the same thing. He's still doing it. It's intentional.
Bro, you can't disturb the class like that.
It's only the administrator that can remove the person. The person has to be removed, but it's only the host.
I think that can be the solution.
Please connect. If you know you are not online, you are not ready to ask a question. This is not your call.
I have Hello, sir. Maybe Osman, but it's just open. It's maybe.
Hello.
Afisata or whatever. Usman. If they
Hello.
meet you, you try to unmute it. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
Paul.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Paul.
Afisata, what problem do you have?
Hello, sir. Paul.
Sir.
Yes, you're on the floor.
Yes, sir. It's Isaac. I want to ask a question.
Okay.
So you say it is expensive for learners to achieve.
Please, the background is not
I want
helping
to
us.
ask.
The background is not helping us, please.
Yes.
That one is so nice from Usman.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, please, can you remove Osman from the meeting?
Sir, please, can you remove the person from the group?
It's disturbing us.
Okay, so please, the online monitor for UCC, please. There are some students at the background. You can take them or mute them.
Sir, please, we didn't get what you said.
Yes, I've asked them to be muted. Okay.
Please, I asked a question.
Please, let's proceed.
Okay. Okay. Paul is asking a question. Paul.
Sir, my question is that you say it is expensive. So how does it make a learner or a curriculum be expensive? That's the first question. And the second question, how the ministry would do to reduce the expensive of the curriculum?
Okay. Okay. That is fine. That is fine. The expensive or the cost nature of this sort of designs is just in the fact that you take it that maybe I design a curriculum or the Ghana designs a standard-based curriculum for DHS2, and you are teaching something like osmosis, and it says that you should do practical work with the learners. That is what is in the curriculum, and you don't have maybe the money to buy the yam, you don't have the money to buy the Viking tube, and then the rest. Are you going to be able to carry on such a curriculum?
No.
Yes, you will not be able to do it, because if you say you are going to buy a Viking tube and the school is not having it, it means that then you cannot teach the way the curriculum asks you to teach it. So that's what we're saying, that it is expensive. If you want to appeal to the interest of the learner, let's say you want to do something that will make them happy, you need to, apply cost to it, because the materials that will entice them, they are bought. And when they are bought, yes.
Sir, please, I suggest we remove Osman from the group. We can't hear anything.
Yes, I cannot remove them. I think it's the UCC online monitor. If he can take the person off, that is better.
Sir.
Yes.
Okay, he has already. I think they have removed him.
Okay, because they are hosting all of us. Okay. So,
sir, I asked a question earlier on concerning what if the learner, you the teacher, have a subject, for instance, let's say clothing, but then the learner is not interested in the theory aspect of the learning, but rather the practical. What should we do to such people? Because if the practical aspect of it is expensive when it comes to criticism of the learner, and you are not able to afford it, as somebody gave example, let's say the toy car, and then the person is interested in fixing or maybe playing with it more than the theory aspect. What should we do to such students that are not interested in the theory but rather interested in the practical most? What should we do to them as a teacher or a tutor?
Okay, Sika. What you can do is that there are various types of the curriculum. What we are talking about is different from what is happening on the field. So there is a type of curriculum that we call competency-based curriculum, CBC. So when you hear CBC or competency-based curriculum, that's the type of curriculum that such a learner should be exposed to, or such a learner should be brought under training with. Okay, that's the competency based. That means that this type of learner wants something to do with his, psychomotor or his skills rather than anything cognitive. Okay, so that is it. If we identify the right, or if we're able to counsel our learners very well and place them at the right places that they should be, some of this problem will not happen. But now what is happening is that we are going through different type of curriculum, administering it to all manner of learners. Okay, we have not checked their needs, we have not checked their interests, and then we place them. Okay, so we're going to have such a problem for a long time until the time that we are able to know that no, learner A must be under a competency-based curriculum. Learner B must be under learner-centered curriculum. Learner this must be under this. Okay, so until we are able to actually place our learners very well, we will have problem with some of these things that you mentioned. So I agree that it is happening. It is happening simply because we have not placed them rightly. Okay, if you know what you want and you go for it, there's no wahala. But if you know what you want and they give you something different, there's always a problem. Okay, so that is my answer to your question.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah. So let's look at the criticism. It's expensive, and then sometimes accused of what? Shallowness. Shallow. It's very, very shallow. People come to school just to learn some few things that they are interested in, then they go home. So you cannot even complete the content that is inside there for them. Because if they will take 30 minutes or 1 hour to be on a particular thing of their interest, that is how you should know it. Okay, so you see, if you are not professional and you are going to follow this sort of thing to the latter, you realize that at the end of the day, you've not covered much. And once you have not been able to cover much, if the exams come and the exam is not going to look at whether you were able to engage the learners very well to complete the activities, the exam is only concerned with how much information the learners have retained or have been able to change their behavior with. So if you are not able to do that, then at the end of the day, somebody too will say that, oh, you are not a good teacher. You didn't finish your task, so you didn't complete your job. Okay, so you have to be very careful, this learner-centered thing, and balance it with the actual work that must be done in the class so that we will hit our target or meet our target. We shouldn't say it's just learner-centered, so I'm doing things that pleases the learner. No. Remember, the need of even one learner might not be the need of another learner, but all these two people are in your class. Some want you to move forward, some want you to still keep you doing the practical. How do you marry the two? Because at the end of the day, both two students are going to be assessed, and that will show whether you did the work well or you did not do it well. So these are ideas that we are exposing to you so that you know the kind of environment, the kind of profession you are practicing, and how you can apply some of these ideas to make effective, efficient decisions when it comes to instruction or curriculum. Yes, Raphael.
Okay, so I want to ask a question, please. Can we say it lacks of structure, and how?
Yeah, sometimes, okay. There's a type of this curriculum thing you are doing is very interesting. Very soon, I don't know, but this is general. But there's a type of curriculum we call the flip.
Okay.
We call the flip classroom curriculum or the flip class. Part of the flip class, you only give work of interest to the learner at home to do, and then when he comes to school, you only come and then try to test him on how he was able to do the thing. So let's say you ask him that he should fix this problem, then you fix it at home, and when he comes to school, the only thing he comes to do that you don't come and teach him, but you will only assess what you ask him to do in the house, whether he has done it well. These things are very expensive, and you know, it takes place mostly in the advanced countries. If you say you are going to do such things here, you will see that we might not achieve our targets. We might not meet our objectives. Okay, so there are various types. But the question is that because we have a standard curriculum to practice or to teach, let's make sure that at the end of the day, whilst we balance the need of the learner, we are also balancing what the curriculum is directing us to do, because they must go together so that we don't have lopsided or education. Okay, we don't have lopsided, but we balance the two so that halfway we all meet ourselves.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Thank you too. Okay, so we come to the broad field curriculum. So
short time though.
Broad field curriculum, we have 2 or more subjects that are fused together.
The same Zoom feminine.
Afita.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Please, we
yes,
are having
Philip.
challenge with the network already. We are having challenge with the network already. And when it's becoming stable, others are taking place on the land.
Okay.
Also the challenge is people are doing but they end up joining the online class, disturbing us.
Okay. So I think we are not here alone. There's a monitor with us. I think you are aware. Yeah. So somebody from UCC is on the is in this meeting, and is also taking note of all what is happening. Okay, so our concerns will be addressed for us. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Yeah, so we are coming to the broad field. We are moved from subject, we are moved from learner, now we are coming to the broad field curriculum. So when we say broad field curriculum, it's just combining of two or more subjects and naming it as a broad area. That's a broad field. Okay, so let's say you can have
please repeat yourself again. Some of us are jotting down, so we are fast a bit.
Okay, I'm saying that the broad, look at the name, broad field. So the broad field design is just putting two or more subjects together and then giving it a broad name. So you can take something like social sciences. You can take something like the languages. You can put French, English, P, Dagbani, all the Ghanaian language. You can put them together and say they are all languages, and it becomes a field of curriculum, but it's known as broad field because you put a number of subjects together and it has broadened the horizon. So broad field curriculum. Okay. So that is the broad field. The name will tell you that you have put two or more subject areas together and you are giving it a broad title, a broad name, or a new name, which is bigger than any of the subjects that you have put together.
Like general science.
Exactly. Good. Like general science. Good.
Again.
Yes. So you can see that these are some of the examples. General science. So you can have the natural science and the physical science put together. And they said general science. Or you can have biology, physics, chemistry put together, and then they said it's general science. Okay. You can have environmental science. You can have biology, you can have geography, you can have economics, because we have environmental economics. Okay. You can have history. In environmental education, you have history, because if you want to bring a solution, you have to know the history of the past. Okay, so you can have all these subjects in there and you name it environmental education. Okay, so that is the broad field curriculum. It puts various subjects together as one and give it a general name or a new name, which doesn't take any of the subjects. So that is it. So if you look at the general science, for example, it will not take a name that is close to chemistry, geology, whatever. No, it will take its own unique name, but within the name, you know that these are the entities that are, they are made up of, or the entities that make up such name. So that is the broad field. All right. Any question? No question. Okay. So let's move on. So we are looking at the broad field, and we see that even though advocates of the broad field believe that the approach will bring about unification and integration of knowledge, it is not so. Okay, it is not so. The main reason is that teachers are trained in two subjects at the university and at the diploma levels, and that's making it difficult. I hope you get this. So even though people think that the broad has brought together so many fields. Yes, hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, I'm saying that even though people think that the broad will bring unification, it will bring integration, it will bring knowledge of various subject disciplines together, it is not so at all. Because at the end of the day, because we started with subject base, we end up also with subject base. You cannot begin with subject base and we are ending up with broad base. So that is the challenge, or that's the criticism about the broad base. So even somebody said he has done general science, and his limitation is that he can only teach physics and chemistry. That's his limitation. That person cannot teach biology, that person cannot teach agric, that person cannot teach anything else except the area that he was specialized in. Okay, so that is the criticism of the broad base, even though it's a big umbrella, but when it comes to integration and unification, it is zero. Okay, so that is the problem we are having with the broad base now. Yeah. Then we move on to advantages. So it is based on separate subjects, as we know it. So 2 or more subjects to provide a big umbrella. It's based on 2 or more subjects. So we say that in such an instance, then it's going to provide an orderly and systematic exposure to cultural heritage. What does it mean? What does it mean? If we say that it is based on separate subjects, so it's going to have us exposed to cultural heritage. What does it mean? Okay, so here what we mean is that
Say I want to explain.
Okay, go ahead.
Say it is, since 2 or more subjects has been put together.
Yes.
At the end of the day, going through that curriculum will enable you to understand other aspects that you were not intended to know.
Okay, excellent. That's all. So the more subject areas you cover under the broad base, the more broader your mind is. That's all. Okay. The more subjects that you do, the more broader your mind is. So if somebody is doing 4 subjects and somebody is doing 8 subjects, you will see that in this case, the person doing the 8 subjects has more information than the person who is doing 4 subjects. Okay, for that matter, the person has good exposition to knowledge than that of the person who did the fewer subjects. You remember when SSS started, we were doing 3 core and 3 elective, making 6 subjects. Now, your siblings or your children or your whatever at the senior high school level, they are doing 8 subjects. Even the new one allows them to do even 9, with the hope that if they are not decided in their career path yet at the secondary school and they leave the secondary school, then they can have different career paths to travel. Okay, so you see, somebody is doing general science now, but the person is doing French. Okay, the person is doing general science and the person is adding French to it. Why? Okay, so these are some of the advantages of the broad field. They have broadened the knowledge base of the learners so that they can have different occupations or professions to choose from the senior high school level. Okay, and then the second one is that, okay, Osman. Osman, your hand is up, or I should go on? Okay.
So I want to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So my question is, you were saying that in the curriculum, in the broad sector, we've been adding different languages like French and other languages so that in case we travel to different places, we can engage in work. But I'm asking, those in different countries, are they learning Ghanaian language or our local language so that in case they travel, to our country, they can also work?
So,
Okay.
just to come in with that.
Thank you for that. But what I would
Just
say,
to
yes.
Just to clarify what he said, those people, we are not studying their Ghanaian language, but we are studying what one of the general language, which is the French. So the French is not their Ghanaian language. The same way we also, English is not our Ghanaian language. So they are also learning English and we are also learning French. It's just a common platform for us to be able to communicate. So they have their own Ghanaian language, as we also have our own Ghanaian language. We have the Fanti tree, the Shanti tree, we have the Ewe and the rest. That's what I want to say.
Hello. David, sorry, I just want to ask another question about what you just
Okay.
You see, my problem is we are talking about French in general. You see, when you go to the Francophone countries, like when you go to Cote d'Ivoire, let me say the local language is what? French. But when you come to, let me say, Ghana, we might say our local language is English because of our colonial masters. But my question is, you see, when you go to the local areas like the villages, they don't understand English. So how are they, these foreigners going to also work with them? How are they going to communicate with them? Are they going to use interpreters or what? That's my question.
Hello, sir. Sir, please let me help him. My brother, what you have to understand is that is why we have the schooling system. And those who design the curriculum know that one day one of Ghanaians will be traveling to this country. So it is important to include this language into our area of study so that in case the person finds himself in such a country, he will be able to communicate with. And in education, we are teaching the children to be equipped so that when they grow up and they face any challenge, based on whatever we have taught them, they will be able to use it to solve the problem.
My brother, thank you for your explanation. But you know something, my question also is like, right now you are talking in favor of we traveling to their country, but in case they are also traveling to our country, because we have positive and negative.
That is their problem.
You are talking
that
for
is
us.
their problem, my brother.
That is their problem. It is their education system.
Curriculum fine.
Hello.
Sir.
Hello, please, do you know something?
No.
Right now, Ghana, we have different languages that we speak here. None of them is make official language. Right now, English is one of the official language that was brought to us to study, and that is what we are doing now. So it has become a burden on us to study that language and know it better. If then time our forefathers were also to be strong enough to capture some of the European countries, they expose their language on them, then it will be studied over there. Then when you go to UK right now, they will be learning everything, how to speak first. But it is never done that way. So
thank you, my brother. Thank you. I really appreciate your explanation. Thank you.
And also, do you know something? When you go to some country, swimming is part of their course because the authorities over there know that the people might find themselves in the water, so they should train them how to swim. So if in Ghana the government doesn't see any need of training their learners how to swim, it is the problem of the country, not. You can't say that country A is training the children how to swim, so country B should also train the children how to swim. It's never like that.
I really appreciate all the explanation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is what the the course entails. It's a very broad-minded course. We all have our views, but if we sit on the seat of curriculum design, then you know what must be going on there with all these in-depth explanations and things that you are all sharing. That is excellent. Yeah, so that is the curriculum for you. Remember, it's very, very broad something, okay? So what you think must be inside there might not be what another person think must be inside there. And that's why always you see that the curriculum itself, at the end of the day, somebody will say it becomes quite political in nature because people are going to take decisions based on their interests, okay, and their needs. So that is it. But we are learning what goes into it so that in case we find ourselves in the seat of the designers or in the seat of the implementers, such as we are teachers now, we'll be able to understand what has gone on into making all these decisions. Okay. Now let's look at the criticisms. So the criticisms is that one, it lacks depth and cultivates shallowness. Broad. You see, anything broad, you know. Right now that you say that maybe they should add physics to a general arts program. And though they are going to do the physics, are you sure that they are going to learn the physics the way the science students will learn it?
No, sir.
If maybe somebody is doing languages and the person is doing his literature in English, French, and then that, and you add that same French to a general science student, how sure are you that those students there are going to actually knowing very well that it just to give them a broad view, but not to actually make it for them in life? Okay, so these are some of the things that we consider as not being too good when it comes to the broad field. Okay, the shallowness of the whole thing. Just do something, let brush something up, let take them through some languages and let them go. But the deepness or the depth of the language, we don't teach them. Then it provides only bits and pieces of information.
I have some contribution for this.
Okay, yes, you can.
Please. Can I go on?
Please.
Yes.
Let me see. Is it to be a contribution the same time a question if there is a need? So
Philip, I'll be with you, okay?
I did my national service in an educational center. So we started with, they said new base curriculum, which we went for a training for some 2 weeks, 3 weeks with the TVS people, something like that. So we were asked to go to the field and then experience. But when we got there, the first years that came, somebody who is doing food and nutrition, she wants to, like, let's say the student want to do food and nutrition, was giving subjects like clothing and languages. I understand the language aspect because when it comes to food, let's say continental, maybe you may travel and you need a language there. You don't have to have a language barrier, but you need languages. But with the clothing, what's the food student going to do in a clothing area? And then a clothing student was asked to do physics and chemistry, which the whole thing was looking so complicated, and most of the students find it difficult to go because their mind is telling them, I'm supposed to do clothing. So the courses pertaining clothing are management, living, textiles, and then general knowledge. And so why should I do physics and chemistry? And that one alone, it contributes to a whole lot of distraction and disruption when it comes to students writing exam, and most of them, they fail because their mind is based on only clothing subjects and stuff. But when it comes to physics and chemistry, they don't have the idea and they are not willing to learn, and they are not willing to even adhere to the new system. So why should the curriculum just change and ask a clothing student to do physics and chemistry, what does it contribute to that student? What will the physics and chemistry contribute to a clothing student at that point of time? I want to just know about that.
Thank you, Sika.
Okay,
Philip.
Let me say something to clarify this before my main question.
Philip, go ahead.
Okay, so let me talk about my own question first. So please, pertaining what they were saying about the broad knowledge and then the narrow one. It's like back at SHS, I did elective ICT, but the core ICT too was there for us to do. So when we go to the class for the core ICT, they will just take us through some basic something. That is how to add numbers, just basic, how to hold mouse and some of that thing. But when you go to elective ICT class, that is where you go deep into that programming and other things. Then you see that place, you open your mind to a lot of things pertaining that particular subject, elective ICT. Though the core is also ICT, yeah, or is ICT, but when we enter the field to study, you see that the elective is giving us more details as compared to the core.
Good. So, Sika and Philip, I think what you just said is right. Okay. So, asking a home econ student to do physics and chemistry, I only know that the home econ students were made to do chemistry, not the physics. But granted that it is even only the chemistry, to you, what is it? What is the relevance of that to that of somebody who is studying home economics, clothing, or textiles? Yes. Yeah, that is a fair question to ask. That's a fair question. And that's why I told you that if Sika, if they should put you as a curriculum designer, it means that what you also design for home economics learners in SHS will be different from those who went and sat and designed this one. So it made that, yes, it made the curriculum like, that's what I said. It is like what I want or what do we want is what we put in the curriculum. So a group goes to workshop, or a group go to sit as a committee and they plan and they design the curriculum. Maybe they might have information that, if we are able to add chemistry to home economics students who are doing textiles, they may function well when they go to the textile industry. But maybe if you were to be there, you would have also chipped in that, no, how many of them or how many textile industries do we have here? Said that if they should spend their whole time learning chemistry, which of course some of them will not even do well and they will fail and discourage them, what would have been the end use of it? So you see, you would have also brought your idea. Then we weigh the two. And when we weigh the two, we realize that maybe the angle you are coming from is so strong compared to the angle that the others are coming from, that, maybe they might find themselves working in the textile factories. So they need how to combine colors. They need how materials are made from, matter and so on and so forth. They need to know their concentrations and the rest. Okay, so the design of the curriculum itself it is political. Okay, it is something that you have your view, I'll have my view, but we meet and we plan so that what is the interest of the society we always consider first before we move to put anything as subject combination or as integrated or that. Okay, yeah.
Sir.
Yes.
So, sir, please, sorry for taking us back again, but then it's about what our sister said concerning the clothing, someone doing food and like somebody doing food and nutrition, then they will add clothing to the person's course. My sister actually did home economics at food and nutrition at Biniba, and she told me that when you talk about the food aspect, food and nutrition, they also learn other things concerning clothing in such a way that you can be an event planner. That doesn't, the fact that they are learning, they classify the course to be clothing or something, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's just necessary, and it's just about the clothing and maybe how to sew or something. It
Yeah, so it's
complies of
a broad
all,
field.
yes, how to organize a program, you do decoration and all those things, to be part of, not just you being this thing, you just being cooking
Economics,
for the
okay.
organization, but also
Okay.
you be an event planner. So
Event
I
planner,
think
okay.
yeah, so it's
Okay,
not
so
just
that comes under Stella. That comes under the broad field design. So their course is like a broad field design. Okay, so the accusation will be that it is shallow. Then Sika will also say that if it is shallow, then what is the need for it at all? Because the person is not going to, after all, become an expert in that field. So why do you even bring it to bother the person? Okay, so these are very good conversation, and I like how you are, I mean, comparing that idea that you have from your sister with that of what Sika said. Yeah, so that is how it is. But you see, the good thing about what we are learning here is that now you are getting insight into what actually, when we say a curriculum, what has actually gone on, or what it is inside, or what it actually entails. So that if you pick anything, any content, any subject, anything, and you are teaching, or you are even learning, or you want to study this program, you have to ask certain key questions. What are the subject combination? What are the various courses that make it up? What is the relevance of this and that? What will I become if I finish? So these are all matters that a curriculum or a curricular student must be able to what? Understand and ask and find answers to them. So that is why you are doing this course. This is a general one, of course. As you move along, you'll be doing ones that are specifically related to your various programs. Then you will get to know that, this is why they brought this content here. This is why they said this content should be taught at level year 2 or that and that. You come to understand all that. So for now, we are only looking at the general overview, okay, of the curriculum. And as I'm saying, you see that there are more information. So this one too is even what? Shallow. Because this one, we are looking at the broadness of the entirety of the curriculum. That means that certain details we are even overlooking, okay? And that is the nature of this. So let us quickly move on so that we can achieve something, okay? Just as I said, the target is there for us. So let us quickly move on then. Let's see what we can. Okay. So we come to session 4. Session 4 is the core curriculum design. When we say the core curriculum design, it's a long name, core curriculum design, but the product is what we call core subjects. Okay, the product of the design is what we get as core subjects. So core subject integrated science, core subject mathematics, core subject social studies, core subject English. These are all products of the core curriculum design. So that is what it is. Now, what is the import of such a design? It will require that all students learn the core subjects. That is the import of the core curriculum design. All students must learn the core subjects. Okay, so sometimes like common learning, general education are synonymous with the core curriculum design. So when we say core curriculum, another name that can come to your mind is, oh, it's a common learning for all. Everybody will do it. Oh, it's a general education for everybody. Okay, so that is the core curriculum design. Then what is the purpose? What is the intention? The intention is that it should enable the learner, after the learner has completed his or her education, it should enable the learner to function effectively in society. Okay, that's the intention. So this is another type of core curriculum design. which meets the other types of curriculum, whether subject-centered curriculum in the school or that it meets it half and half. So you see, you are doing about 3 core, 3 elective, 4 core, 4 elective, and that, okay, just to meet it half and half. So that at the end of the day, you are going to have a broader view of information or content that Ghana needs as a country. Okay. Yeah, so let's look at something from Adentri, 2005. To him, when we say core curriculum design, it's nothing short of a compulsory set of subjects for everybody. Okay, it's nothing short of a compulsory set of subjects for everybody. So everybody will do it. Everybody is required to do it. Okay, and then at the end of the day, that compulsory subject is made up of required knowledge and skills, which are considered to be basic to the culture and civilization of the society. Okay, so Ghana knows that, hey, if we know our history, it's good for us. If we know that acid and bases, they will neutralize to form salt, it's good for us. If we know that the highest mountain in Ghana is Mount Afaja, if we know all this information, it will help us as a country. Then we put a content like this together and we say that it is a core subject. Everybody must do it. Okay, so that is the import of the core curriculum. What is the character? How does it look like? All students are required to take it, and it fuses subject matter. Okay, so that is the core curriculum. Everybody is required to take it, and it fuses subject matter. Okay, so you're going to have that. Then another character is that it is planned around problems. So if you take social studies, you see that you'll be learning something about pollution, or you'll be teaching the learner something about pollution. It is problem solving. How does pollution occur? How can it be controlled or minimized? That is all core curriculum, because it is helping us to solve our own problem. Okay, and it is also organized into blocks of time. It's organized into blocks of time. So just as you have your elective subjects going for 2 periods, 4 periods, the core subjects are also given the same time or block of time. So let's say 2 periods, 3 periods. Okay, it is not that it is core, so we are going to treat it in another way or a less of time. No, we treat it with the same periods that we give to the other elective subjects. Okay, now let's look at the types. The types of core curriculum designs. We have type 1, type 2. Okay, if we say type 1, they are those that are taught separately. Okay, example, mathematics. Okay, is not related to science, but you are doing core mathematics and you are doing core science. So we teach them separately. Then we come to type 2. Type 2 are the one that you have fused 2 or more subjects. Let's say social studies. You know, social studies can be made up of what? History, economics, geography, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the core subject can either be a fused one, like mathematics. When you are doing core mathematics, it doesn't add anything apart from mathematics. That's the separate ones. Okay, when you are doing what, English. No, English, sometimes you do some literary devices. So you do something like literature and then that also in core English. Okay, so that one can be like fuse. But basically English too is like a separate subject. Okay, then when you come to social studies, no, that one, it has fused about 2, 3, 4 subjects together. Okay, and then another course like integrated science is also fused. So it has also fused chemistry, biology, and Greek together, and then you are learning it as integrated science. So core subjects can be separate, like mathematics, which is a very good example, or it can be fused like social studies or integrated science, which is a combination or integration of other subject areas. Okay, so these are the type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is separate subject alone. Type 2 is where 2 or more subjects are fused and then it is taught as a core subject. Okay, then advantages. We say that it makes room for the development of special attitude and talent. That one, you can debate about it. It provides a means for society to initiate its young ones. That one, to socialization, where you are taught pollution, where you are taught where to go, and seek permit if you want to, do maybe any event, maybe burial or whatever. If you social studies will tell you how to apply all these things and then that. So it makes you to be socialized into the society so that you can function. Okay, if you gave birth to your child, it tells you where you have to go and get your birth certificate for the child. Okay, so it tells you so many things. If you want to save money in the bank, social studies will tell you that there are types of financial institutions. Some are savings, some are that. It will tell you all that. So it gives you the type of knowledge that you can always, make use of when you want to function well in the society. Mathematics, if you are counting your money, you are into business. It tells you profit and loss. Mathematics, you have done profit and loss. It tells you how to count your losses, how to count your profit, and then manage your business. Mathematics will help you. Science, if you have a car and your car is overheating, it tells you there's no water. Okay, maybe either your radiator or the fan is not working, or that. Science will tell you. Why do you put water in the cooling system? Because water has the higher specific heat capacity. You all learn this in general science. When you have your car and you are driving, you cannot replace water in the coolant or in the cooling tank with any other substance. Okay, so these are some of the things that the core curriculum help us to do or become. Let's look at the disadvantages. The disadvantages of the core curriculum. Everything, of course, which has advantage will definitely strike out a disadvantage. Okay, so what are some of the disadvantages? Here we say in situations where there are 2 or more core subjects which are loaded heavily with topics, learners have very little time to devote more attention to their optional courses. You see, we have said this earlier, that if the thing is like that, then people will consider it as less of importance. So they will not learn it. They will not learn it. So if you are designing the core curriculum, know what you put in, because people have their interest, their elective, which they have chosen to meet their need. So if you are also coming to add that subject to them, don't go and make the subject too deep, too bulky. They will lose interest and they will not learn it. Okay, so that is one of the disadvantages. So to the designers and the planners, one day we will also become planner or designer and so on and so forth. And we have to know that if we are designing the core curriculum, it should not be loaded. Because if it's loaded, the learners will not patronize or they will reject it. And then sometimes students may neglect the study of core subjects as much as they should because of the belief that core subjects are less important. Okay, they are less important to their electives courses. See, we all have that notion that the course, why should I devote my time and then that? So they have less of importance attached to that, and that is also a disadvantage of the core subject. Okay, then we come to session 5, which I'm rushing so that you can do. Any questions so far? Any question? Okay. So if there's no question, yes. Yeah, Paul.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My question is that how did they separate some subjects and group them as a core and remove our own original language from the core? Why?
Okay. I now get you. Yeah. We were thinking that by the time we get to senior high school, you know, we're all complaining about the number of subjects. So we're thinking that by the time we come to senior high school, then we should be done away with some of the subjects, such as the languages. We would have, adequately dealt with them at the basic level, unless the person chooses it as a program. Let's say in the general art languages division, or in the general art, the economics, and then this in division. Okay, as we have in general art 1 or general art 2. So that is it. So it is not completely taken out, only that at that level, we want it to be studied as elective, no more as a core. That's why you don't find the Ghanaian language as a core subject in the SHS. Okay.
Well, sir, what he's saying is that, or what he's saying, I'm seeing a reasoning to it. One of my colleagues or one of my brother do explain earlier on that our forefathers didn't lay emphasis on our Ghanaian language to be considered as one of the most important courses to be taught in school, which what my brother is saying corresponds exactly with it. Because when you look at the JHS level right now, we have core subjects, and the core subjects now, WAEC has made it 8. We have maths, science, English, career tech, computing, and all those things. And the electives are 2. The electives are the Ghanaian language and then French. They are the 2 electives. So why don't they make the Ghanaian language a core subject?
Okay.
Sir, I have something to talk
Okay,
about.
I get you. I get the point. Yes, Philip.
Okay, sir. Sir, you see, Ghana education system, it is following a pattern. Something that some people practice somewhere is what they are following. So I guess how the people started this, that's actually they are also doing now.
Yes, Philip, you are not far from right. You are not far from right. But again, it is also true that we still adapt the best practices out there to suit our situation here. We still do that. But I can't argue with you more that most of the things are also best practices from outside. That I agree with you. Yes, but we do adapt them so that it will. So if you are unable to adapt it to suit our situation, it means that it's not going to. Yeah, it's not going to work well for us.
I'm saying this because they make Ghanaian
Yes,
let's say
Peter.
French to be elective. Of which your elective you can ignore one and pick one. It has become a trend for you that you can pick one and leave one. So looking at it, if I'm living in Ghana here, within myself, I know very well that I will not choose French over English.
Okay. Yes, Peter.
Yes, sir, please, sir, I just want to bring your notice that we have another class starting at 11:30.
Okay. So I think we are on the centralized pattern. I will do well to send you some of the rest of the slides so that we can have an online, the WhatsApp group discussion as well. Okay. Okay, so I wish you all the best for the week. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Please, center rest. Please inform your friends to stop doing that thing when a lecturer is teaching. Then some will on their mics and then look at they know whether there is a noise at their background. Please, that can pull us back.
Hello, class.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, madam.
Okay, let me know. Hello. Hello.